guys, Dr. Dave here again. Tonight we're going to be making chicken breast with pancetta and sage. It's a sort of a French Provence recipe, and I'm going to also make some fried potatoes and green beans to go with that. So let's get started. First I'm going to take a couple of chicken breasts and I'm going to dredge them in flour and then fry them in some butter, and so I'm going to do that now. Chicken breasts. I'm just going to put some flour on that. A little bit of flour just to dredge it, both sides. And then take a nice deep pan. You can see that it's not a saute pan. It's a little deeper because we're going to put liquid in it. So that goes on the stove, and I'm going to put butter in the pan, and then we're going to brown the chicken breasts. But before I do that, I'm going to prep some other things here on the counter so you can see. I have here some fresh sage. You can use dried sage, it'll work. Fresh sage is obviously a nicer flavor, but dried sage will work just fine. So I'm going to use about half of this, maybe like 4 sprigs, and I'm just going to chop that up fairly finely. And then I have here pancetta, which is, I don't know if you can see that, it's sort of a cross between prosciutto and a bacon. And if you can't get pancetta, you can use bacon. I've done that before with this recipe. And it does taste a little bit different, but it still comes out really great. So if you can't get pancetta, use bacon. So I do have pancetta, so that's also going to get chopped up in a dice. All right? So you want it in smallish pieces, not too big, but not really fine either. Okay. Okay, so I've had the pan on the burner just to get it hot, and then I'm going to add some butter and the chicken breasts. This will be like 2 tablespoons of butter. Again, the pan was already hot, so the butter's already starting to melt. And I'm going to let the butter melt, and once it's melted, then I'm going to add the chicken breast. You can see that the butter's melting in there now. Okay, now I'm going to add the chicken breasts. We're cooking on high heat, so you just want to sort of sear the outside of the chicken breast so that seals it in all the juices when you're cooking. So we'll let that cook. So you just want to get it brown on the side, and then you flip it over and let the underside get cooked as well. Okay, and when the chicken breasts are cooked on both sides, we're going to put them back on a plate, and then we're going to add the pancetta to that pan. That cooked up, it cooks pretty quickly. If you're using bacon, it may take a couple minutes longer. So you can see what that looks like. Alright. Okay. Then I'm going to put the pancetta on the plate with the chicken. It's all in the same pan. Then I'm going to splash about a half a cup of white wine in the bottom of the pan. This will sort of clear the residue on the bottom of the pan, which you want for your sauce. I'm just going to let that get hot and let all of the alcohol evaporate, because the alcohol actually has a bitter taste that we don't want. But there's a sort of acidic and sugary aspect to the wine that we want for the sauce that we're going to be making in the pan. So we just let that, I don't know, a minute, minute and a half, and then we're going to put the chicken back in. Okay, meanwhile, I'm going to make what's called a roux, and you're going to take 2 tablespoons of butter, and then you're going to add flour. You're going to add, I don't know, 3 tablespoons of flour, and then you're just going to mix that all together. I'll just take a fork and I'll smash that together so that it is all blended into one thing. It helps if you have soft butter for this, which I don't, but think ahead. Now we're going to put the chicken breast back in the pan along with the pancetta. We're going to take our sage and we're going to add that. So the flavor that you're going to get from this, if you've ever had country breakfast sausage, that's flavored with sage, and it's also pork. So it's not going to be quite like that, but it's in that category. It's a really great flavor, hearty. And then we're going to add 2 cups of chicken stock. And we're going to add the roux. Okay. And then bring that to a boil and cover and turn down the heat just a little bit once it boils. And we're going to cook that for like 15 minutes or so that the chicken breast cooks thoroughly through. And I'm going to show you in a few minutes how to check whether or not it's cooked all the way through. Okay, so now I'm going to check to see if the chicken is ready. So how I do that is the chicken breast has a large part, and then there's like this small tenderloin underneath, and if you can press apart the tenderloin gently from the main part of the breast, you can look down and see if down inside there it's cooked or not. So, and that won't actually disturb the breast. It'll just give you an idea of whether it's cooked. So I'm going to try and show you that. See right down in there where my fork is, and you can see that it's all cooked, so we're ready to go. Right. And I'm going to put the chicken breast back on a plate. And take the pan off the heat. done now. Just going to let that sit for a while. Then, on the back burner, I have a large pan that I'm going to use for my potatoes. If you can see it, it's fairly deep, but it has a large cooking surface on the bottom because I need that because I'm going to lay the potatoes flat on the bottom of the surface. Okay, so I have that pan, and I'm going to add vegetable oil. And this pan has been preheating. So enough vegetable oil to sort of cover the potatoes. I've cut potatoes into thin slices, you can see in rounds. And I'm going to lay them into the hot oil. I'm going to let the oil heat up just a minute. And then I'm going to lay the potatoes into the hot oil. Okay, so now I'm going to lay the potatoes into the hot oil. Just be careful when you do this. I'm doing it with my fingers. It might be better to use a fork, but I'm just in a hurry, so I'm just going to do this because you can get splattered and burned pretty easily. Okay, so now you can see that the potatoes are in the hot oil, and I'm going to cook them on the one side until they're brown, and then I'm going to flip them over and cook the other side, and they'll be brown on both sides, so they'll be sort of like very, very thick potato chips. And while that's happening, on the other burner, I'm going to take a saute pan, and I'm just going to put that there and get it hot. And then once it's hot, I'm going to add butter, and I've blanched some green beans. So that means that I put these green beans in boiling water and cook them until they're pretty done, but they're still a little bit al dente. They're a little bit crispy. So they're not completely cooked, and that's what blanching means. So once the pan is hot, I'm going to add the butter, and then I'm going to add the green beans to the butter and saute them to finish the cooking of the green beans. Okay, here I'm going to add the butter to the saute pan and let that all melt, and then I'm going to add the green beans. So you can see the butter is now coating the bottom of the saute pan. You want to let it melt, but you don't want to let the foamy white mixture start to get brown, because that means the milk solids of the butter are starting to burn, and that's going to give it a bitter flavor. So I'm going to add the green beans to that now. And I'm just going to toss it into the green beans in the butter and let them cook briefly. They're at room temperature, so they're going to heat up pretty quickly. And I'm going to add a pinch of salt to that. All right, toss them around just to make sure that both sides of the green bean get contact with the bottom of the pan so that they cook evenly. And that should do it. It doesn't take too long. So I'm going to set those aside. Now let's take a look at our potatoes. Let's go read a little bit. Okay, you can see that the potatoes are brown now. So what I'm going to do is take them out of the pan and put them on this tray that has a paper towel on it to absorb the grease. Okay, and then I'm going to just sprinkle some salt on top of that. I use kosher salt or sea salt, not iodized regular salt, because the saline quotient in the kosher and sea salt is less, so you can't. It's harder to oversalt things. So that's a little cheap fact that you may file away. Okay, so now we're ready to plate. Okay, so here's a plate. I'm going to start by adding some of the potatoes to the middle of the plate. Okay. Then I'm going to take some of the green beans and put them on the side here. All right. And then I'm going to put the chicken breast on top of that. Then I'm going to take the sauce that we made in the pan, and I'm going to pour that, or spoon that over the chicken breast. So that's going to be a hearty sauce because it's got big chunks of pancetta and sage in it. Okay, and so here we have it, the chicken with bacon and sage. Green beans and potatoes. So thanks for watching. Hope you enjoy this recipe, and if you want to get more recipes, just click below and subscribe. I'm doing a cooking video every Tuesday.